I'm gonna show you now a couple of examples of how easy it is to use this slider to get absolutely amazing looking footage. And you don't need to have a dedicated studio to create these amazing looking shots. As you can clearly see, I'm not even making an attempt to have a dark background of any kind. And all I have, as you can clearly see here, is a light, a top-down light, or a light pointing down, and a couple of small lights, a 3-point lighting setup, okay? That's something that anybody can do, and they're not even big lights either. This is the slider on a tripod, and I have a couple of these support arms, and the reason being is as the camera travels, sometimes it might throw in a little bit of movement. So by locking either end of the slider, you're not only compensating for any sort of a leaning down or tipping down business, but you make sure that the slider stays straight and it's not moving sideways. I set up my A point, which is exactly here. And now I press these two buttons and I move it roughly around here, okay? So then I come to the slider, I set up a B point, and this is gonna be a 15-second movement at a 7, that's probably too fast for me, a 4%, okay? And look, that's it, okay? I tell you to come to the standby, and look where the magic happens, because the moment I turn this light off, and I don't have anything in the background remotely like black, okay? But if I turn those two on and I switch this one off, look what happened to the frame. This only happens because I exposed to that top light, okay? And by doing that, everything around becomes dark, okay? So yes, in an ideal world, it would be great if I could have a dedicated studio with a black background, but I don't have it. So that's the shot. And now all I need to do is press start. A tracking shot that looks fantastic. And obviously I could spend now 10-15 minutes finessing the shot and making sure that the reflections are in the same place and taste different angles for the lights, but that's entirely up to you. Look how simple it is. I mean, it's a 3-point lighting. I mean, I could even do with a 2-point lighting, it would be just as good. And now we're gonna try a parallax shot, okay? And look how simple it is to set up. I am now just going to place it. There you go. I'm gonna erase all the keyframes, okay? And I'm gonna tell it that now, this is probably a bit too close, given the fact that I have a long lens, I have a 50mm. Okay, so that would be my initial shot, okay? There you go. So that's my A point. And now I want it to be there and there, okay? That's my B shot. I'm gonna turn off this light and let's see the magic happens, okay? I press standby, press record on the camera, and now press start. And look at that. That is a great looking shot. And let me tell you one thing. There is absolutely no way on earth that you're gonna get this kind of shot if you use a gimbal, okay? That's just not gonna happen because you're gonna introduce micro movements as you do the panning or the tilting. And the same applies if you set up the slider upright and you have a 90-degree angle of the camera going up or going down. And this is great when you do talking heads. So for instance, you are interviewing someone, okay? So you can have an extra camera without having an operator. You set it up, you set the shot, you set on a very slow pace, maybe like even 1 or 2%, and you leave it there for the whole duration of the interview or whatever it is that you're doing. So the possibilities for this are phenomenal. And not just with a camera, but look at the results if I use, for instance, a Pocket 3. The footage that you get looks absolutely amazing. And the same applies if you use a smartphone. Let me show you how easy it is to use a smartphone, okay? And obviously a smartphone is gonna give you a different look. But let me show you how simple and straightforward it is if I find the smartphone mount. Oh, there you go. The quality that you get from smartphones is absolutely amazing. And obviously, things never go fast when you need them to go fast. It's like everything in life, really. Anyway, we got this here. So now I have the phone on the camera app that I usually use, which is Blackmagic. I could use iFootage camera app, which is actually really good. And you can control the slider as well as the camera, and it gives you 4K, 24, 30, 60, 1080p. I mean, that is actually a really nice app, but I'm controlling the slider now through this keypad, so there is no need for it. So I'm just obviously gonna bring the slider a bit closer because the phone's main lens is a 24mm and it's nowhere near as good as a DSLR lens. And obviously I don't want to use the telephoto lens because they're rubbish in low light, okay? So anyway, same principle. I'm going to turn off the main light and start the traveling, and that looks amazing to me. And one thing that I genuinely love is when you do upside down shots. Let me show you. And this is the setup that I have for my top down or upside down shot. And it's a fairly simple setup. I have 3 auto poles on a crossbar configuration. I've mounted the slider onto the crossbar, and then at the rear I have attached it to a stand with some counterweights. And what this allows me is that I can then have the camera traveling and focusing onto whatever is in the background, rather than mounting the slider between 2 stands and getting one of the stands on the frame, because it's unavoidable. So with this configuration, you can pretty much do anything. And all I need is the camera app, because you can literally control every aspect of this slider. And I have already done the key points, the A and B points. And I'm just gonna create a really quick shot where I'm cutting some chorizo. And just like that, we've got a really nice looking shot with the camera traveling in. And this is the kind of shot that would be really difficult because you cannot really get the camera so up close if you have it upright. It needs to be upside down. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if that's the case, and I will see you in the next one.